Welcome everybody. It's my rowdy class and on a Wednesday afternoon. It's 12:30. We are doing the 1960s. It is book number 366 and today we're on page 102, I Get Around, Beach Boys song. All right. This is their opening track from their 1964 album All Summer Long. The song describes the group's reaction to their newfound fame and success. So they're like, we're doing pretty good for ourselves. Yeah. So this was kind of their reaction to that. It was released as a single May 11th, 1964, and the B-side was Don't Worry Baby. Don't Worry Baby. So I Get Around became the group's first chart-topping hit in the United States. So they were still in their infancy as far as being famous and popular. The intro was actually based on the intro from the Regents' 1961 hit called Barbara Ann. Ba 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 Barbara Ann. So that's what they based this intro on. All right, now when I'm talking about intro, it's a little bit, and again, because I completely underestimated the Beach Boys until I started teaching them. They have so many different harmonies and so many counterpoints and things going on at once that I'm writing out an intro. But what I want you to see is that the entire thing is played on the upper keyboard with both hands. So those upper notes, your right hand is going to play the C and the A, and the A, F, E, D. And that's what your right hand is going to play until we get to the going into the song. All these other notes underneath are going to be played with your left hand. Okay? And I'll go through it slowly so you can kind of get a feel for what it is. And then, yes, Mr. Kelly. Oh yeah, I put the wrong chord for I Get Around. The chord, I'm going to change it for them. They don't have it yet. So I can say, I can change it for them. I wrote the wrong chord on here. But see, you're starting the introduction with no chord. I also have 4 presets. Now you don't have to use these, but they are kind of simple. And again, the presets are just for you to learn where to push things on your instrument. For those of you that have smaller organs, no worries. You're going to find the right background, which is going to be your rock, full band, and you can put a guitar and a vocal together on top. And I'm using a saxophone on the bottom, but you can use whatever you want. If you just want to stay on one keyboard and just play that guitar and vocal for the whole song, you can. And then just throw in a harmony for your chorus. The beginning part of the song is no harmony. The chorus part of the song, the I Get Around, that part is going to be all with harmony. All right, now, what else do we know about this?
Dawn,
Yes.
on a marquee, are we doing 50s guitar rock?
Nope. Does it come up that way on song setup?
Oh, I didn't know it was on song setup.
I didn't think it was. No, we're going to use, for those of you that have it, we're going to use Contempo Surfs Up. Now, I know on the Marquee and Grand Marquee it's not under Contempo, but you have to go to your style list.
Yeah, okay.
And find Surfs
Surfs
Up.
up. Okay.
Surfs Up. And you're going to be at 148 beats a minute or slower. Now, the reason you can't see my face is I want to make sure you can get my lower hand down here because I do have to play that. So the sounds that I'm using for Surfs Up, rhythm preset or vintage or normal number 1, which is 50s guitar on top and the saxophone on the bottom. And then from there we're going to modify. We're going to put that vocal ensemble tab along with it. Nice and easy stuff. When we add our harmony for the chorus, we're going to add country harmony. Country harmony. Where does that chorus actually start? The second page, second line, I Get Around. So
you said vintage 1?
Yep. Vintage 1, 50s guitar.
And sax, yep.
And sax,
Got
yep. Yep.
Hmm.
Yep, very good. And then when we go back to, and we'll go over the roadmap and the whole thing. As far as chords, I'm not changing any of the chords, but I'm going to be adding some no chords. I'm going to be doing a chord, no chord, chord, no chord, chord, no chord. So you're going to have, that's probably the hardest part of the song, besides the tempo. 148 actually goes kind of fast. Okay. All right. I can't get this so that, yeah, I want you to see my face, but I want you to also, the hand is more important than the face. What the heck? All right, so there's only 4 setups to this. So I'm going to try playing this with my intro. It's not the easiest thing in the world to play with all the stuff I put in, but again, Joanne, we can make it nice and easy. You don't have to do any of the no chords that are in here. Okay, so you can keep it easy. All right, here we go again. I'm going to hit mute all. And listen for the changes. It's a fun song to play. Yeah, it's a fast song, isn't it? Yeah, that's because there's none of the solos that, normally there's a bunch of guitar solos. Now, here's the thing. You want to make it longer? You want to add some solos? You can put your fake it on and either use the guitar or use your sax and just do a whole solo section. So you've got
Dawn?
lots of choices in there. Yeah, Hal.
Is it
Can we
okay
do a road
to just start out at a slower tempo and then
Yeah, yeah.
to get my get my fingers move. I'm watching
Moving
you.
that fast.
I can't get my fingers that fast at the beginning.
That's fine. That's the way you should play. This is ultimately the way you want to get it to, is what I just played.
Right.
Okay.
Okay.
And I made some mistakes too, so no worries. We don't play for perfection. We play for fun. So yeah,
Okay.
you're gonna want to slow it down. Slow
Dawn?
it down. Yeah.
I have a question.
Okay.
Based on what Hal said, and we're doing the presets. What if it's too fast for me and I want to lower the tempo?
Several things you can do. You can start off right off the bat by just programming your presets to a lower tempo, say 120.
Okay.
Now, let's say you program everything at 148.
Right.
Okay, here's what you do. Start on C1, lower my tempo down to, everything's all programmed, lower my tempo down to, let's say 120. Okay, now I'm going to go to tempo lock.
Oh,
If this is the only thing you learned today, you learned something good. Tempo lock. Most of us can lock tempo by touching 2 tempos together. Some of you have your tempo lock on a button down here. Some of you have locks in the window, and you just touch your lock button and find it in the window, tempo, and lock it. Now I can go from preset to preset to preset, and it will stay at 120, even though I've programmed it at 148.
okay. Good to know.
Okay, and it'll stay that way for your entire session. So I
Okay.
could just do that. and just try it slower until your fingers can catch up with it. Okay? Good
Or I'll put
point.
it in on the presets, what you say for tempo, and then change it after. Okay.
Yeah, and lock it. Just lock them in. Lock it in
Okay.
for that playing session. Why? Because your next playing session, instead of going back and changing all your presets, lock in your tempo. Let's say maybe the next time you
Oh.
play it, after you get it at 120, you go up to 125.
Uh-huh.
Just
Uh-huh.
set it at
Okay.
125, lock your tempo, play the song
Okay.
until you can get it all the way up
That
to,
makes sense. Yep. Yep. Okay.
yeah, if that's the only thing you got. Now, for those of you who are going to struggle, and I struggled with this as well, and that's the part where I'm getting bugged driving up and down the same old strip. And we'll talk about the lyrics in a minute too. But when I was doing, okay, I'll tell you, well, that whole section is pretty much chord, no chord. That's why your no chord has to be, and I like mine, F and G with my thumb and F sharp with my pointer. You can just play the chords and play it through. Or you can do a no chord and play that entire verse on a no chord if you want.
Oh.
So you got several. You could just play it like this. Nothing wrong with that. Or you could play it on the whole thing on a no chord. Whoops, no play the chord done. So you can play that whole verse section on a no chord if you want. Or just forget and play just the chords that are there and don't use the no chord at all. But to challenge yourself, it's going to be a chord, no chord.
Mhm.
And keep in the rhythm. So do the chord on beat 1 and do the no chord on beat 2, and that's going to be the easiest way to do it. So where are those? Line 3. Right where your dots face forward. I'm getting bugged where you have that D minor chord. It's D minor, then you're going to put a no chord. N, C.
Okay.
Next line, G7, no chord. Next measure, D minor, no chord.
Well, play the chord.
You play the
First.
chord on beat
Okay.
1 and a no chord on beat 2.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay? It's a little bit of a challenge at 148 beats a minute.
But you play it on, yeah. When you put the no chord in, say on line 3, where you, with the D
Uh-huh.
minor.
Yep.
So you have D minor on A, do you play A and then put the no chord on G?
Yes.
Okay,
That's just the easiest way to do it. It's just
yeah, because
keep
it's
that
hard to
beat the
get it
same.
from the,
Oh, that's a good question. Yeah.
Yeah. D minor goes on beat 1, your no chord goes on beat 2. The G7
Okay.
goes on beat 1, your no chord goes on beat 2. The D
Mhm.
minor goes on beat 1, the no chord goes on beat 2, which would be over the G.
Mhm.
The next line, you've got a G7, beat 2, no chord. And then the C, you're going to play the C without a no chord. The C you're just going to play because I'm adding extra notes. So
Oh,
I'm going to add
so
some
I
extra
like that
notes.
section.
Huh?
I like that section, but I didn't know where I was looking. You put it in there.
Mm-hmm.
You're
Yeah,
sneaky.
I put that little blurb in there. Da 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 dum da 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 da. I'm putting it in. I'm going to tell you the notes, but let's finish up with the chords. Let's go to the top of page 103. You're going to do D minor on beat 1, no chord on beat 2, which is over the G. The G7, beat 1, you're going to do a no chord on beat 2, which is over the E.
Dawn,
Yes.
Before you go on, okay, so on page 2, you have a D minor on that A
Uh-huh.
and no chord on the G. So do you
Uh-huh.
keep the no chord until the next G7?
Yes.
Yes, okay, thank you.
Yes. Uh-huh. So it's D minor, no chord. G7, no chord. And you just kind of got to get into that rhythm. Next line, the second line, same thing. D minor on beat 1, no chord on beat 2. The G7 on beat 1, the no chord on beat 2, which is over the E. Now, where else I'm changing a chord someplace. Oh, yeah, okay. Let's go back to first page. Line 1, you may put a 7 on the A. You can make that an A7. Line 2, the D minor is good for 2 3/4 measures, which means in line 2, measure 3, beat 4, over the E for good, you may put a C chord. It's only for one count, so don't worry too much about it if you don't want to put it in. You're also going to do that on second page, line 4, second measure, beat 4 over the E for good. Same thing, you can put a C, but you can skip it if you want because it's only for one measure.
Mhm.
Or I mean one count, thank you, I'm sorry, one count. Now, the last 2 measures of the song where you've got the dots going around it and it says spoken, I get around, C and A minor, cross those 2 measures out and throw them away. We're not going to use them.
Okay.
Oh,
was
all
just-
gone.
Yep, all gone.
Now,
So you're gonna,
on the second page, last line,
Huh?
the repeat is
Uh-huh.
up there. What about where the G7 is, verse 2? We keep that because we have to play that note, continue that note.
Yeah,
yeah,
that's a
okay.
G7. Yep, and there's
Okay.
no no chord there until you go back to the dots, and then it's
Okay.
D minor no chord again.
Okay.
Okay, all right, let's do the road map, and then I also have to tell you where the presets are. Yeah,
John, you said go back too, but that G7 on that last measure, there is no dots because the dots are forward under the C.
No, it's just a note period.
It's
No,
just, you just end it there?
no. Well, I'm going to
What?
tell you that too. I haven't got to that yet. You're
Okay.
ahead of me. You're way ahead of me.
Okay, I'm sorry.
That's all right. All right, so you're going to do the intro, then you're going to just start the song. You're going to play all the way to line
Wow.
2 on the second page. All right? Line 2 on the second page where it starts, I get a.
Mhm.
Right there, you want to put A2 and A4. A2 and A4.
Where again you put A2 and A4?
Right where it says I get a. Line 2,
Oh, okay.
measure 2, kind of right in the middle of the measure. Just so that you're on A2 and A4 by the time you hit that C chord. The last measure of line 2, then. You just want to be on it when you get there.
A1 is the intro.
A1 is the intro and page 1. A2 does not start until you get to I get around. And that's A2 and A4.
Okay.
All right, now
Ooh.
keep going. We're on the first time around. And you have a first ending. See it?
Yeah.
And the dots. At the
Yeah.
end of line, or the end of the first ending, put A3. All right, and you're gonna make those dots a color. Then you're gonna kick to A3 and go back to where?
Third line, first page.
Correct.
Thank
Third
you.
line on the first page, not all the way back to the beginning. So make sure.
Whoa, that's right.
Yeah,
it's a
watch
third
that.
line.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you're
going-
good, Beverly.
And
Yeah,
that's
you're only
1
going
and
back
3.
to the dots that face forward, which is we've always take my car 'cause it's never been beat. And we've never missed yet with the girls we meet. Yeah, we'll talk about the lyrics because the story behind
Dawn,
the lyrics is actually pretty
Then
fun.
verse
Yes.
1, when verse 1 and it's 1 and 3. Verse 1 and verse 3.
No. No.
No,
No, at the end of the first ending, you're going to put A3.
Right.
Oh, beg your
That's-
pardon.
You're just going to a new preset.
I understand.
Not
Now you're going
Sue.
back to
She's
the
going to the
second
third
verse.
ending.
No, we're not, yeah, now we're going back to the second verse, which starts on the third measure of the third line of the first page, not all the way back to the beginning. So now we're going to do the second verse, and then you're going to switch to A4. You should have already marked that in.
Yep.
A2 and A4 in the same spot. For I get around, go to A4 and play the chorus. From town to town, I'm a real cool head, and I'm making good bread. Okay, so the second time, different color. At the end of line 4, you can put a colorful 2, and if you want, you can put an arrow to the second ending. Now, where's that second ending going to end? Because we crossed out the last 2 measures and threw them away.
John, could you repeat that? You said at the end of line 4 on page 2, right?
Yep. Put a
Yep.
colorful 2
At the end of the line, okay.
at the end of the line, and I made an arrow going to the second ending. All right, now on the second ending, you've got one measure. Remember, we're crossing out the last 2 measures. So you have one measure of second ending.
Oh,
And I
yeah.
want you to write DS and fade.
Oh,
DS and
notes.
fade. And you're going to put in 3 pickup notes for your right hand in that measure. So after you play that G7 chord, you're going to write 3/8 notes. G on the second line, A on the second space, and B on the third line, G-A-B.
is that stacked or no?
No, not stacked. I
Okay.
get
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah.
One right after the other, going uphill. And the words are I get a. The silly sign is going to go, need a different color now. So from the end of that measure up to the silly sign, and you're going to write your own silly sign in, line 2, last measure,
On which page?
second page.
Oh, second page, line 2,
Yeah.
last
So
picture,
you're
okay.
going up from I get around. So you're
Oh,
going back, yeah, you're just going back up to I get around.
yeah, so that's right below the C, you use the C chord there?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah, last measure. So I'm doing the pickup notes down here, going back to the silly sign, which is the last measure of line 2. And I'm just repeating the chorus, and it just makes sense. Just play the chorus as many times as you want, fade it out. And if you want to play the chorus 3 or 4 times and do a transpose in between, why not? If you want to insert a guitar solo or a saxophone solo, go ahead and do that. So how would I do that? I would just put on my Fake It and play the chords for I Get Around, C, A7, D minor, B flat, G7, and just noodle. Or if you've got the one where you just push the 2 black keys, just do that.
so
Dawn,
what you're
Yeah.
saying,
okay, that's right. Are you putting A2 and 4 right before the C on that third measure in line 2, or right before the D for DGAB?
After the D, before you play GAB. Now that's like so fast that don't worry about it. Just make sure you get to your next preset before you play the C and the C.
Okay.
Okay?
John, when you put in that last silly sign, okay, you bring it back up to end of line 2 on the last measure there, and that's a C. Oh, okay, so do you fade out there or do you keep going?
No, you keep going. You go back up to, you're going, all right, let me show you. All right. When you get to the second ending,
Yep.
Yeah.
cross out the last 2 measures and write DS and fade. I get and where's the silly sign? And I made it pink. I'm going
Right.
to find the pink silly sign, which is right there.
There you go.
I get around from town to town.
Okay,
And just keep going. You can play that as many times as you want and fade out.
Got it. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Yep. Yeah, the problem with this song, and it's not a problem, it's just that it's an upbeat song. But when I took a look at the lyrics, I'm just like, oh my goodness gracious. These guys have just now found that girls like them. And I mean, if you take a look at the Beach Boys, they're not all that handsome. I'm sorry.
Oh,
I did not find them the cutest of guys. I'm sorry, ladies, if you did like them. But it's like all of a sudden, girls are looking at them. Wow, because they're stars. They're famous. So this was their reaction to that. I get around from town to town. I'm a real cool head. Like the Fonz, I'm real cool. I'm making real good bread. Now I'm in the money. Some of these guys didn't come from a lot of money, I'm sure. Now they're in the money, and so of course the girls are going to like them. I'm getting bugged driving up and down the same old strip. Okay, so didn't you guys go out cruising in your cars when you were teenagers looking to pick up or just at least flirt with and wave to the people in the next car? We always did.
Yeah.
Yeah, I gotta find a new place where the kids are hip. Yeah, I'm getting sick of this old place. I gotta go someplace new. And then it says, my buddies and me are getting real well known. Yeah, the bad guys know us and they leave us alone, which tells you they kind of must have got bullied in school maybe a little bit. And now they're cool. They're too cool for that now. I get around from town to town. I'm a real cool head. I'm making good bread. Then I always take my car because it's never been beat. And we've never messed yet with the girls we meet. Yeah, they're famous. They're making some money, so the girls are going to be flocking around them. None of the guys go steady because it wouldn't be right to leave your best girl home on a Saturday night. Wow, interesting. So they're not going to have one girl. They want to play the field. They want to have some fun. I thought the lyrics were very telling of the times. All right, so as far as right hand notes, let's talk about right hand notes. So far, everything that's there is fine until you get to line 3. I'm getting bugged driving up and down. The E for the word up, I didn't like.
Dawn, I'm sorry. I'm still having trouble with my eyes. What,
Oh.
where is it?
Line 3,
Of
last
which-
measure. I'm getting bugged driving up and down. Okay? It's written like this, which isn't bad.
Okay. Okay.
I didn't like it that way. So I'm changing the E for the word up
Okay.
to a D.
D?
D dinosaur.
Okay.
So up and are going to be 2 Ds in a row.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
sound better?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. Now, third line, or so fourth line, first measure, that first E, change it to an F. So instead of same old strip, it's going to flow better.
So,
Make-
okay, so I'm sorry, I was on the wrong line. The fourth line, first measure,
Uh-huh.
Yes.
Yes. First
so
note.
it's E, F,
No, change the E. Change your first E to an
Okay.
F.
okay,
So you've got F-E-D.
okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, I was
Yep.
on the bottom line.
All right. Well, you guys should have been here for my first class. All right. Now, what am I doing when we get to the last line where the kids are hip? Then I came down here and did some extra notes.
I love that.
Yeah. Well, if you want to put that in, you got to listen closely. Measure 1. Where that rest is, you're going to put 3/8 notes.
Mm.
You're going to do a low G below the staff. It's 1, 2, third space below the staff. So you're going to put line, G. Then you're going to put an A on the second line below the staff. So you're writing it under the staff. I'll put it up in the window too. And then you're going to put a B, butterfly, second space below the staff. So put a line and a B right underneath it. Second measure. You've got a whole rest there. We're going to play these notes. C on the first line below the staff, and that's going to be a quarter note. Just put a stem. Beat 2 is going to be a D on the first space below the staff, and going to a C on the first line below the staff. Put stems on them and connect them with a flag. They're both eighth notes. That's beat 2.
So it's C, D, C.
Uh-huh.
Okay.
The next beat is a D, dinosaur, back on that first space below the staff. You can make it an eighth note by putting a flag on it. The next note is an E, elephant, on the first line of the staff. Make it a quarter note. Just put a stem on it. And then you've got half a beat left. You're going to go back down to a C on the first line below the staff. Put a flag on it, and it's an eighth note. Now, the last measure of that line, you've got 3 rests, okay? Instead of the half rest, you're just going to write on top of it. You're going to have 4 notes. They're all eighth notes. So there's your 2 beats. G on the second line. Then go down to an E on the first line. Then go up to an A on the second space. Then come back down to a G gorilla on the second line. Put stems on them and connect them all with a flag. G, A, B, C. D, C, D, E. C, G, E, A, G. Okay, I'll put it in the window. Hopefully you can read my hand scratchings. All right, nobody talk so everybody can see what they are. Can you read them? I know I told you not to talk. Okay, my arms are getting tired. Yes, the notes are in measure 1, G, A, B. In measure 2, C, D, C, D, E, C. In the last measure, G, E, A, G.
And you play that last A.
And you play that what?
the
Yeah.
last- Yeah,
You're gonna.
okay,
Yeah. Uh huh.
okay.
Mm-hmm. Now you're gonna go to the
And you
lower
go
keyboard
to-
for that. Remember,
What do you
you're
call that?
the
What's the
first
term?
part of the song. You're on the upper keyboard.
Yeah.
When we get to the verse, I'm getting bugged. Put an L. So go back
Oh.
up to line 3 and put an L.
Oh, okay.
I'm getting bugged goes to the lower keyboard. Or not. You can play it all in the same one if you want. Now, for your little blurb that you just wrote in, put a U. Now for the A, put an L, because you're going to go back to the lower keyboard. Now you're going to put a U. The same place you've got the A2 and the A4, you also want to put a U. You want to go back to that upper keyboard.
Dawn, where did you go to the lower keyboard right before that?
Lower keyboard is I'm getting bugged. First page, third line, in the middle of the second measure. So
Okay,
your verses are going to be down here. Your chorus is always going to be up here.
Mm-hmm.
John, when you went up to the upper keyboard and you went way over to the left, if you go up over to the right, it's 8VA. What do you call it when you go over to the left, the way you went down in the lower area?
Well, I'm playing it right where we wrote it. We're playing it right where we wrote it.
Oh. Oh, okay. All right. I
Okay?
get it. Yep.
You're playing it right
Yep.
where we wrote it. But
Yep.
if you wrote it up here, then you would write 8VB, and then you would play it an octave down. But you don't want to play it all the way down here, so
No,
play
play
it
it
right
where
where
it,
we wrote it.
play it where it is. Right.
Huh?
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Whew. Okay.
The hard part of this song is the coordinating of the chord, no chord, and the speed of the song.
You know what, Don? I used to think that when you hit a note chord, you had to hold it. You don't have to hold it. You
Oh,
just,
no, it's just your
I
note
know.
chord
Yeah,
is a
but I
chord,
used
and you
to
just
think I
touch
had
any
to
3
hold it.
notes together, and you just
I
touch and
know.
release.
I know, but I used to think I had to hold it. And then one day I said, I don't have to hold that. Just hit it. Yeah.
Just touch it. Yep, just touch
Right.
it. That's why your no chord is like a chord. I know for some people they like to smash. Don't smash, because smashing is never accurate. And if you're smashing, then you got to look to get your hand back in position. If you
What the heck
pick,
is
if
smashing?
you pick 3 notes, 3 keys, and do the same 3 every time,
Yeah.
then it's not a chore. Then it's muscle memory.
Yeah.
If you have to look to see which 3 you're doing, just pick 3. Make it the same every time you play a note chord. That way it's muscle memory. It's like a chord. You see the chord, you just automatically go play it.
Okay. Don, did you do that on Contempo Surfs Up?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Contempo surfs up. Yes. If you
Dawn.
don't like that, basic rock 8-beat works very well also. And then again, you would use rhythm preset or vintage number 1 and just do the exact same thing. Add your vocal ensemble. It's all the same.
Dawn,
Yeah.
I tried matching the original recording to my metronome,
Okay.
and they did not do it at 148.
Oh no. Oh
No,
no. I probably got it from a live version, and I'll tell you what, live is always faster because the adrenaline's going. So that's probably where I got mine from.
Well, I got mine off of the YouTube.
Okay, you got it off the album?
Well,
One that's on the album? How fast did yours line up to?
I don't have a really accurate metronome, but I think it was around probably as low as 140,
Okay, that makes sense.
maybe 139,
Yeah.
138.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes perfect sense.
If you put in, excuse me, if you put in Contempo Surfs Up,
Mhm.
it comes up at 160.
You got to slow it down.
Yeah, yeah. So
Yeah.
it comes up pretty fast.
Yeah, and I
You
have
can
no
do it,
problems-
Barbara.
I have no problems with you
In
changing
your dreams,
this
baby.
to 140. I have absolutely no problems with that. None whatsoever. And like I said, when people play live, they have a tendency to play faster because they're a little more nervous and their
Yeah.
adrenaline's going. So
Yeah,
I
they wanna
probably
get
got it
done.
off of one of their live concerts. And yeah, they would have been going faster than the album.
I'll
So
tell you right now, I'm not playing at 160.
no,
It's not,
I
it's not
can't play
gonna,
it. No,
it's not gonna happen.
148 is my tops. But
Oh,
Yeah,
you're like-
160 is just not gonna
slow it
happen.
down to where you need to slow it down. Absolutely. And if you want to program it, if you want to change my numbers to 140 or 138, please feel free to do so, because that probably is more like what the album is.
Well, that's what you got to practice at.
So it just makes it more fun. Yeah. So if I take my tempo off and do it at 148, now the intro, I told you I was going to tell you that real slow. The intro, once again, you're going to
Okay.
have a whole bunch of notes. Do you need to play them all? No. But the top note here is a C. You're only going to play that with your right hand, and the A. Then you're going to play A, E, or A, F, E, D. Is that what that is?
Dawn,
No, something's wrong there. Yeah, A, F, E, D. Uh-huh. Go ahead, Helen.
Dawn, Dawn,
Yeah,
could you possibly play that at 138 so I can hear what it sounds like?
sure, with pleasure. With pleasure. That's probably more true to speed.
Dawn, are you saying those notes that you have over the staff, those are with your left hand?
Your
Right.
left hand,
You
yes.
sure not your
Your
right
upper
hand?
hand, you're going to play this with your upper hand. That's all you're playing with the right hand.
So it's backwards.
No, this is on, it's on top. Now the left hand is going to play. Is that going to take a little bit of work?
Yes,
Yes. So
lots of
guess
work.
what? You know what you could do?
What?
Use this to line your bird cage and put your intro on. Will that work? Absolutely, because if you're on Surf's Up, that's a Beach Boys background. So, you could just play your intro.
Oh, that's good.
I like that. I like
That's
that.
the easy way. I told you, you
Yeah.
can make it as easy or as hard as you want.
Yeah.
Well, it's good practice, and then you can play the one that's in there.
Yeah.
But you can learn how to do it, and even if it's bad, so what?
Correct. All right, I'm going to play it now.
Okay.
Hal wants me to play it at 138, so I'll try playing it again at 138. Let's see if we can do it. Go to your lower keyboard. Second ending. Silly sign. Fade out.
That's
Basically, it's
realistic.
verse
That
chorus.
actually, that sounds at 148, it sounds better. At
Oh,
138, it seems like it's too slow.
But well, you know what? It still sounded good.
Yeah. So you guys,
I don't
but you
know, I
gotta
liked
get your
it.
fingers in the
I
right
liked
spot.
it I liked it better when it was at 148.
Well, then you just practice your brains out.
Can you play
So
it
get those
that?
fingers going, yeah.
138, like it was dragging a little bit.
That's because you were used to it now at 148. Yeah.
Well, hell, you can go to
Whatever.
142.
I'll try the one and see.
Try several different things until you find what works for you. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. I do have fingering for you as well. Are there any questions?
Yes, I have one, Dawn.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I don't know if I got on. Oh, I got
Yeah,
it.
no, I can hear
Okay,
you.
could you just repeat one thing, where you went up and where you went down?
Mhm.
What I have so far is in line 3, you went down on the second measure. And
Yes.
then, okay, and then what after that?
Now, line
then-
5, where I
Yep.
wrote in those extra notes,
Right, then you went up.
then I went right back down.
Oh, I thought you went up there. on
Went
the
up?
left.
I
Then
went
she went
up
down.
for the guitar. Then I went right back down to the lower so that I could play My Buddies and Me.
Right. Right.
I'm just not getting that. Okay. But on
Okay.
line 5,
Yeah.
did you go up at all on line 5?
Yes, up. I went
Yeah.
up to play
Yeah.
the little part
Yeah.
that we wrote in.
Right, for those 3 measures.
Yes, it's
Okay,
two.
and
Yeah,
then-
2.5 measures. Yeah. Yes.
Okay,
Then you go
okay,
back
so-
to the lower for the lyrics.
On the A.
Yes, on the A, you go back to the lower. And then you go back up
oh,
where it says I get around on line 2, third or second measure.
right, okay, got it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, is that it?
That's it.
That's it.
Okay,
No, I'm sorry. When you get to the end of line 1, or the end, line 1, the end of the first ending, where you have that G pickup note, you got to go back to lower because you got to go back to here. So you're back
Okay.
down.
so at that G pickup note, it's at the second page, last line, first measure, you go back down.
Correct.
That's A3.
A3.
Yeah.
At A3, correct.
You're going up.
No, at A3 you
Oh,
go down.
A3, you go down.
Sorry. Now, all right.
Go down. And then you go
Okay.
back up for your little blurb.
Yep.
And then you go
Okay.
back lower for the verse.
Okay, I
Okay. Got it.
And then you go back up when you get to the chorus.
I just
Yeah.
missed a couple of
This
arrows.
last page chorus, you're always going to be on a country harmony. If you don't have country harmony, you can put it on do. It is. It's okay. So you can make it as easy or as hard as you like. Uh-oh, my internet connection is unstable, so if I bleep off, that means...
Next week, what are you playing?
Huh?
Next
What do
week.
we do?
Oh, next week the song is... We're going to skip I Heard It Through the Grapevine, because there's
Okay.
not much to teach on that. And we're going to do the Beatles, I Saw Her Standing There.
Oh. What?
Yep.
Okay,
Dawn, I sent you a text in the chat.
Okay, very cool.
You can read it.
Could you
I will
repeat that
read it.
again? The Beatles?
Next week we'll do the Beatles, I Saw Her Standing There on page 108. Nice to see
Okay.
you, Rich.
And line 5, the
Aye.
notes in line 5, is that DE, GE, and AG? Is that what you added?
Yes.
Line 5,
Yes.
Last measure.
GAB.
GEAG.
No.
GEAG.
Are you on the second page?
No,
First
first
page.
page,
Oh,
line 5,
uh-huh.
DE, GE, AG.
GEC. GEAG.
GEAG, last measure.
AG, correct.
Oh, I said, yeah, GEAG. And, oh, I see. CD.
CDC.
CDC. DEC.
Uh-huh. And then GAB for that first.
Oh,
Okay.
That's just a fun little blurby to play. Now, if you don't feel like playing that, guess what? Fill in! Yeah. Okay. So I have an unstable internet, so if I bleep out, that's, I'm sorry. But I do have fingering for you, and yes, I will read the chats when I'm done. If those of you who don't need fingering, thank you so much for coming. It's always my pleasure. I love this class. You guys are awesome. And don't hesitate to email me if you have any more questions. And if you need the intro and you need the sheet right now, I can scan them to you right now before we put it on Patreon. And yes, I will ask about what's going on with Patreon and see if I can get some answers. But here we go with fingering for those of you that would like it. G1, A2, B3, C4. Check mark after that held C. That means you're going to lift your hand. The C quarter note for the word from is a 2. B1, C2, C sharp 3. At the end of that held C sharp, After that blacked in quarter note, put a check mark. C sharp 2, C sharp 2, D3, E4, F5. A1, 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 F5, E4, D3. Let's go to the lower keyboard and do A5, A5, G4, A5, G4, G4. The D that we wrote in is a 1, D1, E2, D1. Next line, the F that we wrote in is a 3, E2, D1. A5, A5, G4, A5, A5, G4. D1, E2, D1. G4, E2, D1. Upper keyboard, here's the numbers for your notes that you wrote in. G1, A2, B3, C4. D5, watch out for this one. C1, D2, E3, C1, G4, A2, I'm sorry, that's an E, E2, it's an E, E2, A5, G4. So 4, 2, 5, 4. Then when you go back to the A, it's a 5 on your lower keyboard. Top of the next page, A5, A5, G4, D1, D1, E2, D1, F3, E2, D1, A5, G4, second line A5, G4, D1, D1, E2, D1, G4, G4, E2, D1. Then you're going to go to the upper keyboard, G2, A3, B4, C5. Check mark after that held C. C2, B1, C2, C sharp 3. At the end of that held C sharp, check mark. C sharp 2, C sharp 2, D3, E4. Next line, F5, A1, 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 F5, E4, D3. First ending, your pickup note is a G4. Your pickup notes in the second ending are G2, A3, B4.
Thank you, Dawn.
Any questions?
That was wonderful. Wonderful.
Dawn, I have one question.
Go ahead.
Second page, second line. 1, 2, 3, third measure.
Mhm.
Where you went back up at A2, what note did you go up on? Is it the
G, the
G,
pickup note,
okay.
the G, G-A-B. You want that you want that on that upper keyboard.
Okay, so you do the D on the lower keyboard
Yes.
and go up on the G
Yes, yes.
Holy,
That's hard.
okay.
It is hard.
Well,
Now, the hardest part about this is the speed. Now, that's why I said, if you don't feel like going up and down like that, you can just leave it on one keyboard. Nobody's going
gotta
to care.
you gotta try.
Nobody's going to care. You can do that. You know, make it
Well,
as easy or as
yeah, I
hard
just-
as you want.
Yeah, but that's pretty tricky. Those are all eighth notes there.
It is. And you're going fast.
Yeah, okay.
It is.
All right, well,
No
I'm
worries.
just gonna say
Play it
that's
all on
it.
one keyboard. You know, what's the difference?
No. Okay. I just found out, I didn't have it, the arrow up. I had the arrow up on the A and I thought, that's not what she said.
No, arrow up on the G. Yep.
Okay, got it. Thank you.
You're welcome, welcome. Let me read the chats. Let's see. Patreon customer support number. Okay. Don't know if it's toll free. I don't either. I'll find out. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Yeah, 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 yeah. I agree with you, John, if you're still on. I know what I did. I said, don't talk, and then I said, can everybody see it? I'm an idiot. You
Well,
guys
that's
are
all right.
awesome.
That's what you have to say. We're like kindergartners.
You guys are so awesome. I love teaching this class. You guys are great. Thank you. Thanks for coming
Thank
today.
you.